The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
This is All Things Elite. Welcome back to All Things Elite. Load up the pod, man, it's on when we speak. Rich right here, let me warm it up for Austin and Floyd. Couldn't be no one but the boys. When it come to All Things Elite from the fan perspective, swear, man, it ain't no question. Hear from them first. Swear, man, they putting in the work. No, they had to get me for the verse. Social Suplex Network's on. Hours at a time in your headphones. Austin and Floyd on the microphone. Backing out on the rant, getting in the zone. Pulling up the show, give it 7 stars, you already know. Who else could it be but the show with the proclivity for positivity? I'm gone.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 210 of... oh, my God, that was bad.
Oh, just do it again. No.
We'll do it again. Yep.
All right.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 210th episode of Social Suplex's podcast about AEW with a proclivity for positivity. Welcome to All Things Elite. My name is Austin Sumwitz. I am the host of this lovely show. Joining with me, as always, is my good buddy and friend, Mr. Floyd Johnson Jr. My man, how are you doing?
I am well, on so many levels. First, we just got through watching my reigning, defending, undisputed Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs win again, beat the Denver Broncos for the 16th time in a row. And I don't know if you understand pro sports or understand pro football, anybody cares. But beating an opponent 16 times in a row is almost unheard of. It just doesn't happen.
That game was a garbage fire, though, I will say.
Oh, God, it was it was a Thursday night game. Bowl and shoe ugly. They're usually going to be like high scoring or ugly. But I will say this. Those are the kind of games the Chiefs lost before this year. We didn't know how to ugly it up with teams. And our defense is good enough to ugly it up with teams. And I'm taking it as a positive. I'm hoping our offense comes along. We really just need it. But again, we're not going to do football talk. I'm happy my Chiefs won, so that's a good move. Then right before the show, got a little more good news we'll talk about in a second. And tomorrow, so we're recording Thursday, barely Thursday, October 12th. It's almost the 13th, Friday the 13th. But on Friday the 13th, I am going to the season premiere of WWE SmackDown in Tulsa. And then on Tuesday, I was at Title Tuesday and Dynamite, so I'm getting back in the swing of my wrestling things. My overall mood is just, of course, it is improved because I am back at wrestling shows.
All right, yeah. It's going to be a fun time for sure. And, yeah, we got a lot to talk about, of course. That Tuesday, it was a Tuesday that people can't stop talking about. It was a great night for professional wrestling. We got a lot to get into, of course, and a surprise title change on AEW Collision that we have plenty of thoughts about. So we got a lot to talk about for Dynamite and AEW in this entire week. Before we get into everything, though, we want to make sure you guys are downloading this fine show on Google or Apple Podcasts. And if you listen to us on Spotify or wherever you choose to listen to us, please give us a share with your friends, family, coworkers, whoever you wish, and subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. And also be sure to leave a rating and a review. It helps out a ton. And you can also follow us on Twitter at ATElitePod, at Social Suplex, are the guys that make this show possible. Please check out all the other shows they have on their network. I am at Austin Sumowitz, SZUMOWICZ, and Floyd is at Floyd Johnson Jr. on Twitter. Now, the news of the week kind of goes into the number side of this Tuesday of wrestling that we had. Of course, the Tuesday Night War, as AEW had Title Tuesday go head-to-head with NXT because of the fact that they had to move the show off of Wednesday because of the MLB postseason. Shout out to the Braves choking like they always do. But regardless, AEW had to get their moved over from their usual time slot because of the postseason from the MLB, and they went head-to-head with NXT, to which it was basically a goddamn street fight with what these people wanted to put on this show for each shows. Now, full disclosure, we have the results and the numbers for the ratings from this show. And Floyd, do you want to go ahead and just give the numbers out and the ratings and the viewers that each show had?
I was pulling it up right now. Just typed it. I went a little slow on this.
Yeah.
I'm pulling up from Brandon Thurston for WrestleNomics. That's at Brandon Thurston on Twitter. Just want to throw that out there. I've been a fan of WrestleNomics for a very long time, and that's usually who I go through for the information because they really do their best to stay in the middle. They don't try to, there's no spin. There's no this is better. This is just, these are the numbers, and you can do with them what you may. So, WWE NXT last on USA on Tuesday night, 921,000 viewers, 0.30 in the 18 to 49. AEW Dynamite, 609,000 viewers, 0.26 in the 18 to 49. So that is your results. So NXT won. And I'll bring him up on the show very often. Dave Finichel, me and him had a conversation before the show, before it started, and I was like, oh yeah, NXT is gonna win. And he's like, why is NXT gonna win? I was like, the first thing is it's their night.
Yep.
It's their night. It's Tuesday. And unfortunately, as smart as people are these days, people don't like change. You know what I mean? They're like, I watch wrestling, I watch AEW on Wednesday, so they're going to watch it on Tuesday. Second of all, WWE, NXT, Shawn Michaels, whoever decided, I guess it's sweeps week, or something like that. And so they put it all out there. So they
basically made it an episode of SmackDown on NXT.
Yeah, it was John Cena, and he was going to be in Braun Breaker's corner, Paul Heyman. John Cena was going to be in Carmelo's corner. Braun Breaker was going to have Paul Heyman in this corner. Asuka wrestled Roxanne Perez. Cody had a special announcement that was absolutely not special at all.
And he was apparently the GM, I guess,
yeah,
for
he
the
was
night.
the GM of the night, so he was on Yeet. So he was on multiple episodes, and then at the end, The Undertaker came out. I mean, we're not here to do a review of NXT, but that's just kind of cliff notes of what happened. So literally, if you talk about the Mount Rushmore of WWE, like 2 of the 4 people from Mount Rushmore were on NXT. So with it being their night, with that, yeah, the number. And it was so funny because I do straw polls, and they're very unofficial straw polls. It's just like, hey, well, what are you watching, kind of thing. And I have a diverse enough group of friends where I think I get it. We don't all think the same. Actually, a lot of people don't think like me. So, I get a good idea. And my 2 friends that openly admitted that they love AEW's product more, that they enjoy the wrestling, blah, 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 everything with AEW, said they were watching NXT. So that, in my head, my straw poll world, that did not bode well for AEW.
Yeah. No, and again, it was very much like heavily favored towards the nostalgia bait that they did. And look, I'm not going to be out here being like mad about it. There's a reason why they still have John Cena under contract, why they still have The Undertaker under contract, because they can get these guys to make appearances and they pop ratings. They've popped ratings for their entire career. That's what they were designed to do and what they were built up to do. And it helped out tremendously. And yes, when you move a show from its original time slot, the number's going to drop. It is going to drop. There's a big reason why I would also carry into why AEW beat NXT in the Wednesday Night Wars. It's because Wednesday wasn't their normal time slot. NXT wasn't normally on Wednesdays. AEW was always on Wednesdays and consistently beat them.
And even on NXT was on Wednesdays. It was just on the network. People didn't turn their TV on for it. So, again, I if you're an NXT fan, take your victory lap. I am. Sure. I'm like, do your thing. AEW will go back to Wednesday next week.
Yeah,
the
one thing I would take out of this though that I would say is I do like the fact, and I think I can't remember his name, but someone from Wrestle Purist I think made this comment, and I do agree with it as well. And it was that I did like that AEW hung their hat for this massive show where they were going up against a show that was featuring John Cena, Cody Rhodes, Asuka, Paul Heyman, and The Undertaker. And they put their money on what brought them to the dance in the first place, which was excellent professional wrestling. You didn't get a promo segment, like an in-ring promo segment, until like the second hour of the show, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But they had like 3 or so matches before that. So it was just wrestling. And that's what AEW does so well. So they hung their hat on that instead of trying to beat WWE at their own game. I respect that.
And I say this forever. AEW is a pro wrestling show. WWE is a sports entertainment show. Even though AEW has unfortunately been leaning into a little bit too much, a little bit more into the sports entertainment side, the professional wrestling, the professional wrestling side is what, they do best. They put on matches. This show started with a banger and all that stuff. But yeah, congrats NXT. AEW goes back to the regular time slot next week. This is not going to happen a lot. And I don't think, the SAG thing is going to officially end and they're not going to be able to just keep calling John Cena. You know what I mean? So
right.
No, NXT, I haven't liked that show in a very long time. I watch it because JR watches it. I always say that. I watch it because I watch it with my friend. But, I was at the show and I had a great time. We'll talk about each individual part of the show. And, I thought AEW did what AEW does. They put on an amazing show. It's just... Yeah.
And again, no, I would say at least a good majority of fans, myself included, going into this, I'm like, AEW's not winning this. They can't. Like I said, it's just you went up against an episode of SmackDown, and AEW was never designed at this point in their lifespan to compete with SmackDown. You know what I mean? You turned NXT into SmackDown for the night, and SmackDown beat AEW. Good job. I'm not even trying to be facetious of it. However, TK was very vocal about how he was absolutely going to, he was taking this shit and he was going all the way with it. Tweeting out a picture in regards to Triple H, calling him a bald asshole.
I thought that was towards Shawn Michaels.
Was it Shawn? Well, it could work for either. It could work for either or. But regardless, that popped me. I thought it was funny, but I was also like, this could go down a bad road. And it kind of has, because Tony Khan has been tweeting a lot in regards to after the numbers came out and AEW Dynamite didn't take them down. Of course, there was multiple tweets where he was just thanking the wrestlers and being like, thank you to everyone who tuned in. It's a big night for professional wrestling. We appreciate everyone who tuned into Dynamite and all that kind of stuff. That's great. But then he also made a tweet commenting on the fact that this was the first show that John Cena and The Undertaker have been on that has had less than 1 million views. Trying to take the wind out of the victory out of their sails, being like, well, your number wasn't that good either.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
it was so funny because I was like, it's like Michigan and Michigan State plays a football game and Michigan scores 49 and Michigan State scores 17 and Michigan State, but you didn't get 50. Like,
exactly.
What?
It's like, but you didn't cover. You didn't cover.
I was like, what? Like,
dog, I don't care.
Like, what are we doing? And it's like, I laugh because I love the drama. Everyone knows that. If you listen to the show, I love the drama. But it was just like, it was drama. I love. And then this tweet, and I was like, that's not a good look, sir. That is the Philadelphia Eagles complaining about the refs. That is, when you lose, just say, hey, we put on the best show we could. We thought it was one of our better shows. Make sure you watch it on DVR and kind of leave it at that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because
don't forget to tune in to Rampage and Collision. Goodbye.
Don't confuse the Rampage and Collision. Again, I like that Tony is about his product and everything. I had this thought. I was talking earlier just with people, and I was like, the thing about it is, And I think the thing that rubs them the wrong way is Tony Khan, if AEW is the country, and I think that's actually his title, he's the president and CEO of AEW. Yes. He's the president, right? And I remember in 2020, all the things with Donald Trump, but the real reason I didn't want him to be elected anymore, as far as, I don't really talk politics, is because he kind of embarrassed us. He was the news. And I was like, man, in my mind, when the president's doing the president's thing, I barely know he exists. He comes out for the big announcements, blah, blah, blah. But the day-to-day...
State of Union.
Yeah. But the press secretary, all those people handle everything else, right? So it's kind of like, I don't want my president being the one talking shit. You need a general in your army of AEW to talk shit. Somebody that's on the roster should be talking this shit. Somebody that's on the roster should be sending these tweets. Tony Khan, even if he isn't above it, should appear above it. And again, I like the mud. Don't get me wrong. I generally have no problem with it. But even today, I'm getting messages directly to me like, oh man, he needs to calm down. And I'm like, He is what he is, and it's like in the last one, I was just like, probably the first post like in 2 years that I ever said like, TK not a good look. Like generally, I'm like, keep going, I'm like, that was the first time I've said it there in 2 years, and I was like, I think it does. I wouldn't even call it a bigger problem, but I think it does shine a light on the fact that there has been a role missing from AEW, and I'm not since about. Let's see, February 2021 at this point. February 2020.
Left.
Yeah. Where he was the general, right? It would say Triple H versus Cody. And that's how people would talk, Triple H versus Cody, because this is not about, what I'm about to say is not about Cody. It's not. It really isn't. It's about a role that he fulfilled of the leader in the general, in the front face of AEW,
and the one that would take the most shots.
Yes, and he would take the shots. He would go on shows. He would I
don't need to see the Bucks defeat the developmental more than once.
Yes, and he would do these little one-liners that buzz through the show at all, and it's just like AEW, and I know there are people that worked for WWE, and they're like, we don't need that. You do. You are the challenger brand. That is something I didn't even know what that term meant until like a year now, but you are the challenger brand. Yes. They are number one. The only way a challenger brand works is if you're challenging the top. You're taking the pot shots, but they don't want it from Tony Khan. It needs
to be like from the Bucks,
MJF,
or from MJF, or
Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega.
Yes.
Any of those guys. It shouldn't come from them.
Yes. Because
it shouldn't come from TK.
When Cody was doing it, TK kind of had plausible deniability. Cody was doing Cody. Now, when he does it, it's like, oh, now you're petty. And it's just like, nobody wants the leader to be petty. You know what I mean? I do. But most people don't want the leader to be petty. So it's just like, someone has to step in this role. I mean, the obvious person, because he has some of the best one-liners and one of the wittiest people, is MJF. He's the world champion. He leads AEW. I know he's trying to do this, bidding war 2024. He hasn't really been on that lately, but 2024 is coming up. And, maybe he's not trying to burn any bridges or whatever. But that's just speculation. That's just me throwing out shit. I don't know shit. But maybe that's the case. But it feels like this is needed. And it feels like the more and more they've settled into, we're just going to do what we do, the cooler, the product has kind of cooled off. And everybody's like, oh, they're putting on amazing shows. Everybody loves their pay-per-views. Everybody loves this. But then that's not correlating to ticket sales. That's not correlating to ratings. That's not correlating to everything else. And I think what helps that correlation. And I'm not saying ticket sales and overnight, the TV stuff would be fixed overnight if you just talk more shit about WWE, but your wrestlers, Tony taking shots on Dynamite, had people talking about AEW that didn't talk about AEW usually.
Right.
they'd at least be like, man, can you believe Cody said that? Can you believe this? And it's just like, they need more shots like that. And I just think they need someone to fill in that role. I don't know who it is. I don't know who would be comfortable with it because I don't want anyone faking it. But I know there has to be someone in the company that actually believes this shit, and they just need to say it.
Yeah. I mean, you had one, and then you fired him, but,
No,
that's neither here nor there.
That's neither here nor there. And unfortunately with that guy, he took more shots at people on his roster than he did at the WWE.
At some point, all of a sudden a switch was flipped. Was flipped, and then all of a sudden,
yeah, it's like
so much so he had conversations with the other side, and then they told him no. And honestly, I think that's for the best,
dude.
Trust me. Don't get back with your ex-girlfriend. It never works,
dude.
It never works.
He's gonna do something, and I root for him to be there. But like I said, there's a hole, and it's like it's like the term heart and soul of AEW, and it's just like I feel like the soul is there, but it has lost a little bit of its heart. And even when I went to the show this week, it was like I remember, like comparing it to 2020. When I was there, because I was in Kansas City 2020 before COVID started. And after the show, Cody came out in the ring, and, he brought some wrestlers out, and then they brought some fans in the ring, and they messed around.
It felt way more,
It felt like a community. It felt like you were in a family. It felt like you were a part of something. Now it just feels kind of like a business. And I went there and I hugged Grillo and I said hi to my people that I know, the AEW Hills people, all the people I love. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people I love still there and whatever. It's just that overall feel that there's no pre-show signing anymore. There is, like I said, there's no the wrestlers just hanging out outside the ring, having good fan interaction, and someone records that and they put it up, and it's just like, AEW is the greatest live experience ever. Because I was there, and I can tell you the live experience is nothing less than it used to be, but it just feels like the energy from the crowd is not anything less than it used to be, but it feels like the family atmosphere is not there. So, like I said, I think when I'm looking at this, it's just like there is something missing. And like I said, I don't think it's the soul, because the great matches and all that stuff, I think there's a little heart missing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I can definitely see that for sure. But speaking of the fact that you were at Dynamite, we're going to get to the Kansas City Title Tuesday Dynamite. But before we get into that, we got to talk about Collision. Now, this was a Collision that opened with the AEW World Tag Team Championships being defended by FTR against Absolute Ricky Starks and Big Bill. And we have to talk about this because we saw a title change. And it was one that we were not expecting, as Absolute Ricky Starks and Big Bill defeat Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, basically jump in on Dax, who took most of the offense, and they take down FTR, and Absolute Ricky Starks and Big Bill are your tag team champions. Big Bill holding his first championship, period. This man has not won a championship in any company he's been, not an independent, not WWE, not Impact, nothing. And all of a sudden, he's tag team champion with Ricky Starks, who finally has a championship as well. I'd been screaming about Ricky Starks getting the title. He hadn't had one in, ever. And now he's tag team champion with Big Bill. And we have some thoughts on this. The FTR guy's right here. I will pass it off to him first.
First of all, I got to tell you, I should have recorded this right after it had happened. I was a lot.
I know. The emotions were probably way more furious.
And there's more information that's come out since then. So this is going to be a lot more level-headed than you probably wanted to hear when talking about FTR. How they did it. Let's talk about the execution of it. They attacked them before the bell rang, right? And Big Bill then put Cash through a table. And then it was just Dax in the ring. And it was set up like an old FTR match where they put him out like Cash was going to come back and, you know, get the amazing tag and then lead the comeback. So that's where my brain was. Then Big Bill and Ricky Starks just beat the shit out of Dax and pinned him. 1, 2, 3. I was sitting there waiting. I was waiting for Cash to get up, and he stayed down, and he stayed down, and he stayed down, and he won. I thought the execution of it was perfect. I know a lot of people say, you know, I heard a lot of people say, "Oh, this is Brody Lee versus Cody." It was a one-sided match. It was a definitive one-sided match, like Brody versus Cody. But in Brody versus Cody, the bell rang, Brody just beat up Cody. It was like a fair match. Brody was just ahead of Cody. He was just better. In this match, it was kind of like, oh, they got snuck. You know, it was like, right. It was never a match. And I thought it was the perfect way to execute it if you're going to go to FTR losing. So after the match, of course, there was speculation that, you know, one of the people from FTR was hurt, and then Dax put up a post of the highlights, 4 pictures, and then he's like, you know, did what they did FTR out. And of course there was speculation that FTR was leaving. No one said FTR was leaving. No one hinted at FTR is leaving. They actually just signed a contract in March. No one said FTR is leaving. And in essence, they just signed one of Dax and Cashier's friends / mentors in Edge, or Adam Copeland, right? So when people were coming to me, I was like, there's no fucking, they're not going anywhere. They just signed Edge. I'm like, by Dax's words from his podcast, this is from his podcast, he said, you know, him and Punk, you know, like, what was it, like a year ago, like in February when they had their match or whatever, that was like their first time talking and being friends. Listen to the podcast, listen to any interview. Dax and Cash go way back with Edge. That's family.
Oh yeah. I mean, did you see the way they reacted when he returned?
Yes. Cash and Adam Copeland, when he was still in WWE, was cutting a promo, and someone had broken in his house. I think it was Randy Orton. Who broken in his house, Randy Orton. He said, "I'm going to send Dan and Dave to help look out. I'm going to call Dan and Dave to help look out." That was a reference to Dax and Cash. So these people are family. So, okay, they just signed a new contract, one. And contracts tend to be binding. Number two, one of the closest people in their lives just joined the company, right? Number 3, AEW actually cares about tag team wrestling. I don't see really a positive to going to WWE. And that's not even talking about the schedule or anything else like that. Again, all this stuff, what I'm saying is stuff Dax has said on the podcast. Cash said the live podcast. This is all public information. So I didn't see there being a world where FTR was leaving. And even when I was asked, I was like, I'm going to go out on a limb just based on what I know about them and liking old school wrestling. This was probably their idea. Now, that was me on like Monday and Saturday, but after, I was pissed. I was like, oh God, why did they do this? Why? I mean, FTR is supposed to be the most dominant tag team and got their ass kicked. Now, I was really conflicted because I really fucking love Ricky Starks. And
as do I.
Really fucking love Big Bill. I don't know if anyone's ever met Big Bill. That man is probably one of the nicest humans ever. Like, he is 7 foot, but he, like, when he's talking to you and he's just chilling and got the voice and all this stuff, doesn't feel like it. He's just a very friendly human, right? So I'm like, and, you know, he has been on the cusp of something for a long time. And it was like, oh my God, Big Bill and Ricky are made. I'm very happy for them. Number 2 positive. If the Young Bucks had just won the number 1 contender, I was the FTR was winning, and I was like, well, if the FTR and the Bucks are at Full Gear, I'm gonna have to, save money, go to Full Gear, because I'm not missing FTR and the Bucks. I mean, it's still a month and 6 days later from now.
You never know.
I never know, but it seems like the odds are likely that FTR and the Young Bucks aren't happening at Full Gear, which, again, I'm kind of okay with. So it was a lot of emotions and stuff that went in through this, but congratulations to Ricky Starks. Congratulations to Big Bill. Ricky Starks has... I was telling my friend Rich Latta from One Nation Radio, I was like, he's had the weirdest push ever. I've never heard of a push where you lose every match.
For real.
I was like, honestly, how are you going to be being pushed and you lose every match? So Ricky won, so he got a win. He has a belt. He is the guy. I love promo after. You ain't getting no rematch. I love it. Shout out to them. Now we can hear our friends' thoughts. Austin, what was your thoughts on my favorite tag team in the world getting fucking demolished?
I literally DM'd you and I'm like, dog, what the hell? I couldn't believe it because I was just like, this was like a combination, like immediate afterthought. It was like, this is a combination of the things that we don't like the most. FTR lost the belts. And it's to a makeshift tag team. Wasn't to an established tag team. Wasn't anything like that. They just lost to two guys that were teaming together. I will say this again. I'm so happy for Big Bill. Like I said, this guy hasn't been a champion anywhere. And the fact that after all of his mental struggles, after literally having a moment where I'm pretty sure he seized in the middle of the ring at an indie show, he can say he's a champion now. I've gotten the chance to meet him, but I trust Floyd's word on anything. When he vouches for people, there's a reason why he vouches for people. So I'm very happy. And I've screamed from the heavens that Ricky Starks needs to be hold gold. And quite frankly, like I said, it's about time that he has something to kind of work for. I am more so hoping, because this is my viewpoint on this too, because you were leaning towards when you were like, obviously Adam's there, their family, and they re-signed, and there's basically this has to have been done for a reason. I'm leaning with you on that. The reason I hope this happened is I need more than anything else. I think currently in AEW, I need FTR to be heel. I need it so badly, and I know the tag team division is filled with a lot of heels. I'm aware of that. We need a heel FTR. I just feel like it's been years since we've had that. I love babyface FTR. I love to be able to cheer, giving the okay to cheer them. But these are old school guys, and they're so old school. We know they should be wearing black hats. So that's the biggest thing I want out of this, is that they get so furious that they lost on a fluke and because they got jumped, that they're like, okay, fuck all that. Full CM Punk. I'm tired of being nice. Go that route. That's what I want. So I hope that's the way I'm taking out of this. Again, absolutely stoked for Ricky Starks and Big Bill. I hope this leads to more success for them, because I don't believe that they're going to hold the titles for very long. I just don't believe so, because again, they are still a makeshift tag team, but they have an accolade to add to their career, which I think they deserve. But hopefully this just means they get utilized. But yeah, it's still very, very weird. Now, in regards to the rest of the show, I would say the only two things I wanted to comment on was A, my favorite thing in the world, Timeless Toni Storm. She fucking had a script ready for Kiera Hogan. It was like, here's your script. Here's what you have to do in the match. And basically, yeah, you take the fall, basically. And Kiera is like, oh, you want me to do that? And rips the script in front of her face. And she's like, how dare you? Slaps her. And I mean, she bit this girl's ass. She bit her ass.
and she goes absolutely haywire, and eventually is able to hit the hip attack after getting her close up, getting the Storm Zero, and getting the win over Kira Hogan. This girl is phenomenal. I love her so much, and I'm going to gush over her more when we talk about Title Tuesday, but I had to mention that. Her having a script ready for Kira Hogan made me die of laughter. I thought it was so good. It's getting a gimmick and then doing everything with it and doing buying. Like I said, I love people when they get weird shit and they commit to it 1,000%. This has just the same makings as, say, Orange Cassidy and his gimmick. And I would also compare this a little bit to Damien Mizdow, the way that he committed, and it just Damien Mizdow combined with Rusev Day, that kind of stuff. It's when you commit to something so hard that everybody all of a sudden is just I'm buying into this. This is insane. This is amazing. I have nothing but incredible things to say for Toni Storm. Give her all the accolades and the awards. I want a "you really, really like me" promo eventually, when she wins an accolade or something, whether it be something from the Wrestling Observer or whether it be an actual championship. I want a "you really, really like me." She's amazing. I had to comment on that. Floyd, I know I gushed over this. Did you want to comment on anything on
I'm
this?
just going to say, on these type of gimmicks, not my favorite thing, but there's only one way to do them. And you have to go whole assed. No half-ass.
No half-ass.
And she is 100% into this gimmick.
Yeah, that's basically the only reason. Because like I said, it's very sports entertaining on AEW, which we know we like in doses.
Yes.
But it's still a wrestling company. That's what we always say. We like our sports entertainment stylings in doses. This is still a wrestling company. But when you get this, you have to commit. And she 1,000% has.
And that's what I'm like. I will tell you, she's committed. And it's to the point where I can honestly say, until Title Tuesday, I honestly didn't know if she was a heel or a face.
That's what I'm saying.
But
now we know.
Now we know what side she's going to be on. But yeah, I had no idea. Lord, I couldn't tell you whether she was a heel or face. I just thought, she's doing this thing, and it's great, and it's funny. It reminds me kind of a female, I've heard vaudevillains. I think more Goldust.
I was going to say, the vaudevillains, they had the aesthetic, but I still don't think they went all the way with it.
Yeah, because, Goldust was old Hollywood. That's what he was, and that's what
exactly.
That's what Timeless Tony
That's why
is.
I went more with Mizdow, because it was movie style stuff, but he committed.
Yeah, and she's doing a great job with it. And again, it's not going to be for everybody. It's one of those things. Is it my favorite thing? No. Do I hate it? No. It's just it's not what I look for. But when I was at the show, oh my God, people fucking ate it up. So let's go. Let's keep going.
That's what I'm saying. She's my queen. And then finally, the last thing I would say is I wanted to comment on the Rated R Superstar. And first of all, Eddie Kingston Commander did an amazing match, I would say, for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Did want to say that. But then Adam Copeland made his debut on Collision, basically being things didn't go my way, and I don't get it. I'm confused, because the idea of me coming here was to team with my friend Christian Cage. But rewinding again, for 9 years ago, I was told I would never be able to do this again. But I'm standing here through a hell of a lot of hard work and persistence. For 7 years, Christian was told he can never do this again. Through a lot of hard work and persistence, he's here. Somewhere along the line, he stopped taking my phone calls. I've said before, he's a dick. I love him, and he's been my friend for 40 years, best friend, but he's in his Bond villain face. And he's like, I get it, but I'm out here for answers, and I want to find out what's going on. Christian, can you just get out here and tell me what's going on, since you won't take my calls? To which Christian comes out and goes, he's on the Titantron, basically going, you think you call the shots, huh? Same old Adam. You get to be the one to call the shots. I'm the TNT champion. I come and go as I please. So you're going to get your answer on Dynamite. I'll be there on Tuesday, but will you make it? to which Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne show up, and they circle him. Copeland spears Luchasaurus, boots Nick Wayne, but eventually he gets chokeslammed by Luchasaurus and hit with the Extinction. And then they grab a steel chair. They're looking for a concerto until Darby Allin comes out to save him. And at one point, Darby's looking at Nick Wayne, and he's like trying to be like, what are you doing? This isn't you, stupid baby face. I'm a stupid baby face. I don't realize that my friend has turned evil. I get killed all of a sudden because I get drop kicked by Nick Wayne, and then get thrown into the corner, and then get concertoed on my arm. So that was how Collision wrapped up, which I thought was a pretty solid promo segment to wrap things up. And again, it has me so stoked for everything that this feud is leading towards. And we'll get more into it with Title Tuesday for sure. But anything you wanted to comment on that first?
Dude, I really enjoyed Collision this week.
It was good.
Yeah, the Edge segment ending it is great. I want to see more. I did have one problem. So they gave us the mask guys, right? So I thought it was going to be like a Collision only thing, attacking Jay White, and then they just went away. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say this, in 2023, yeah, you can't do that with storylines.
They
just can't go away.
Yeah.
They did it. It's like, okay, who attacked Jay White? And he thinks it's MJF, of course, but who are the other guys? And yeah, you just went away with it.
Yeah, they've mentioned it, but they haven't actually revealed it.
Yeah, and I understand slow burn. I love slow burn. This is not me talking about me.
At some point, though, easy way to keep it going is just have masked MJF show up and jump another member of Bullet Club Gold.
Yes.
Have him jump Austin or Colton.
Yes.
They can take a beating.
Keep this. You gotta keep this going.
Yes.
You have to keep.
I thought that's what they were going to do. I thought, Jay got jumped. Now Austin's gonna get jumped, and Colton's gonna get jumped, and Juice is gonna get jumped, and they're all gonna think it's MJF.
Yeah. So yeah, I had a bit. That was my problem from Collision, and Dynamite, because I just thought it was going to be a Collision exclusive type of angle, so I was expecting to see something on Collision, and we saw nothing. And it's just like, I am not in a hurry for it to reach its conclusion, but I am in a hurry for it to get started.
Right. No, exactly.
Okay.
Moving over now to Title Tuesday, which opened up, of course, on the 0 hour. They had the Ring of Honor World and New Japan Strong Openweight title match between Eddie Kingston versus Suzuki, aka we're gonna beat the living shit out of each other before the show actually gets on TV.
Dude, I got recorded videos. I posted it on All Things Elite, Twitter.
They were just chopping and smacking the hell out of each other.
Dude, and it was great because, I managed to get really good seats, kind of late in the process. And, it's so I don't usually record a lot during shows. I don't put up a lot of videos, but I was in such a good spot and they started slapping each other. And I was like, let me whip out their old trusty phone and record them beating the shit out of each other, and it was beautiful. And Eddie Kingston is one of those. I love him because him and Suzuki's the same way. Their matches are pretty much the same, right? But it's a match I enjoy, and I will tell people all the time. There are some other people that do the same match every time, and I don't enjoy them. But these two, I can literally watch them slap the shit out of each other over and over for days. And I just loved how the Eddie Kingston, when he'd take the forearm to the face and he would go out and then he would just get back and fight. And it was such a fun match.
Yeah, no, it was a blast and a fun way to open things up for sure. Moving over, before before the main show happened, we did get Tony Khan appearing on, basically saying that Jon Moxley wasn't medically cleared to be able to go up against Fenix for the International Championship, to which Hook and Orange Cassidy interrupt, and Hook basically insists that OC will fill in because he's the former International Champion, to which TK agrees and makes the new match Orange Cassidy versus Rey Fenix for the International Championship. But the official show opened with Christian Cage appearing inside the production truck, like no intro, literally opens with Christian being like, "This is the biggest Dynamite ever, Title Tuesday," and how fitting that the first thing you see is me, Christian Cage. Then
the face of TNT.
The face of TNT, yep. Face of Warner Brothers and Warner Brothers Discovery. He said, "I've procured the first 30 minutes of Dynamite commercial free. You're welcome." And he said, "Somebody in this stupid truck start the show," and they count it down and then they show the intro. Nice touch. I thought it was very nicely done. To which we get into the opening match, the number one contender match for the TNT Championship, Swerve Strickland versus Bryan Danielson. I mean,
this match was amazing.
Yeah, it's so fucking
Washington the Pacific Northwest was represented very well. I just wanted to. I want to say this before I even talk about the match. If you look at Swerve Strickland, and you don't like, oh, I'm not really feeling him or whatever. I don't know what you look for in wrestling.
For real, say it louder.
I was like, I just don't know. You have the right to not like what you don't like. You know me, I am all about, you love what you love. But when I watch him, this dude is great on the mic. This dude has a presence when he comes out to the ring. Banger entrance music that has crowd participation. Prince Nana, shout out to Prince Nana on that one.
Yes.
His crew looks tough as fuck. And then when you put the belt on, I mean, this is the part that's not new. This dude has been dope in the ring for like ever. You know what I mean? But he has done everything around being dope in the ring to make himself seem such like a main event level presence, product, the future star of this company. And it's just like, you got the Rhythmless Nation out there doing the Nana dance. It's amazing. I can't dance either, so I really don't have anywhere to talk. But I was like, I started recording and I didn't want to post it. I started recording people doing the dance and it was so bad. I felt like if I was posting it, I would end up making fun of them. And I didn't want to make fun of people, so I kept it in the phone. But if anybody ever wants it, I'll send it to you. It was pretty terrible. But, and they come out and it's just this presence, and he is AEW, and he is uniquely AEW. I know he was in WWE, but everything about his presentation feels AEW, and it's like the crowd is behind him and everything there, and it's just like, dude, if you don't like him, I don't know what you look for in wrestling. Like, yeah, like I don't know. And then they put on this match, and Bryan Danielson, again, a lot of people believe one of the best American professional wrestlers of all time. And Swerve is on another level. And then they just go out there and tell this beautiful story. And it did have a bit of a WWE ending with Hangman getting involved, taking the weapon away from Prince Nana. It actually did make sense, to a point. I hate that stupid horse, but it actually made sense to a point because they're building to another match, and then Bryan Danielson gets the win. But this match, dude, I messaged because I'm like, is this match as good? I messaged JR and I was like, is this match as good on TV as it is live? And he's like, I'm watching NXT. And I was like, I hate you. I was like, is this match as good? Because the crowd was super into it, and they're so fluid. Like, them working together, they're so fluid, and it was just, and it still seemed like a fight, not a dance, and it's just really hard to find the balance of that, and I really like this match. It's honestly one of my favorite matches of the year. I imagine someone will probably say it didn't reach match of the year level, but from a moment of it starting to the end, it had me completely engaged. So, yeah, I really enjoyed this match.
No, yeah, again, this was so good. Again, there's really not much else you can say. Like I said, if you don't believe that these guys are legit and you don't believe that these are two of your best wrestlers on the company, I don't know what to tell you. Bryan Danielson, to me, he is AEW's ace. Like, you will not get a bad match out of Bryan Danielson. He is so stellar. I love the storyline of them really working on Swerve Strickland's ribs during the match. And yeah, they just kicked the shit out of each other. And but eventually, yeah, like you said, the distraction led to Hangman stealing the crown from Nana and from Swerve's hands, and that's helped set up for that to happen. But basically, Danielson pins him, and it's Christian Cage versus Bryan Danielson on Saturday on Collision for the TNT Championship. Yeah, these guys are outstanding. I will always vouch for Swerve Strickland. He is going to be monstrously huge for this company. He already is. But when you put a belt on this man, oh dear God, you are not ready. Small little vignette for the Ring of Honor television champion Samoa Joe, basically saying he's beginning his road to the AEW World Title at Collision. So he's beginning his ascension towards greatness. To which we then get Powerhouse Hobbs versus Chris Jericho, and Jericho gets killed. And I gotta say, again, I will always give props to Jericho at this point in his career. He's given back so much, and he's like really trying to help put a lot of young people over. Obviously, with Hobbs being the newest member of the Don Callis family, they want to establish him as a world beater, and they want to establish him as a threat in the Don Callis family. And he basically took Jericho behind the woodshed and like put a bullet in his head. Like Jericho barely got anything in this match. Like maybe one small little moment where he was able to get a good string of offense. But eventually, as he got out of the walls of Jericho, he proceeds to get slammed, spine busted multiple times, and then eventually just throws him down and pins him, and picked him up, throwed him down again afterwards, and yeah, they're making sure Hobbs looks like a threat in the Don Callis family, which is good because Hobbs is very, very good. He's a big man who slaps meaty meat very hard, and he just basically killed Chris Jericho. So I think that was a good presentation of him. It was a squash match that didn't feel like a squash match, but it was. I mean, Jericho gave him everything.
Dude, yeah. And it's like anybody that ever said that AEW was a Jericho vanity project is not paying attention.
No.
The amount of people, I think he needs to win some matches. I think he's gone a little overboard in putting too many people over. But it did not start in this match. This is what Will Hobbs needed. This is, to me, I enjoyed Will Hobbs versus Miro, a lot. But this was the match. I'm not going to say career making, blah, 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 but it was the match that establishes Will as Will. This is the first match that he's ever been in with a major wrestler that matches how he looks. Will Hobbs shouldn't be in 30-minute matches. He shouldn't be in 20-minute matches. His matches, win or lose, should last 10 minutes, and he's going to either kill you or get killed. And the fact that he hit the world's strongest slam, hit another world's strongest slam, and boom, it was done. I don't know if they're calling it something different because I watched it back. They just said a big power slam. So world's strongest slam twice, and he just beats Jericho. And that's how it is, because someone that looks like Will Hobbs in his prime with that physique beats someone that looks like Jericho at his age. That's just how it is. It's the most realistic finish that you can have in wrestling. People that look like that beat people that look like that. Now, when Jericho comes back, hopefully, maybe one day, and he, comes up and uses his veteran mentality to knock Will Hobbs out and get the pin back, if they even decide to do that, that would be genius. Or you can be like, Will Hobbs can have a win, and Jericho recruits somebody just as big as him. Either way, whatever way you do it, this match was needed to establish Will Hobbs as the monster, as the enforcer of the Don Callis family.
Yeah, got nothing else to say other than that. Moving out of that, we had another segment of Roderick Strong having Adam Cole at his house, helping him with the things he needs help with. Adam's basically like, dude, it's been nearly a week. I need to get surgery. What else do you need me to do? Roderick's like, you need to cut my grass. So he mows the lawn on one leg while on a scooter. Eventually, he's like, "Oh my God, I'm done with this, dude. Like, what do we got to do?" It's like, "No, I got something for you." And they go inside, and he goes, "Listen, Roddy, I think it's very weird that there's no cell service and there's no TV. I want to watch Dynamite to see what MJF's up to." To which Roderick's like, "TV is the devil," and it's like thought that was funny. But basically afterwards, he is about to leave, and then Roderick's like, I got one more thing I need from you. And I'm like, Adam, dog, Adam is being so nice. Again, it's stupid babyface shit. Which I mean, you love but you hate.
So I am all about fun in wrestling. I got to tell you, this shit has jumped the shark a long time ago for me. It's something that I just have to kind of sit through because I don't enjoy it.
Yeah, no, these segments are not obviously we loved the segments with MJF and Adam Cole.
No, there was one part of the segment that actually made me laugh out loud. That the giraffe is the next strongest animal in the kingdom.
Yes.
Oh my God, Matt Taven. I don't know how he delivered that line in that part without fucking cracking up because that was pure gold. And he never said it, but even in his how they filmed it of him just stroking the neck, you knew that's exactly where he was going. Is that giraffes have really strong necks, and it was just he finally said it. That part was amazing. But yes, Adam, go get your surgery, whatever you're gonna do. I don't know if these pop quarter hours, and I know there is someone out there that thinks this is the most amazing shit ever, and the whole show should be 2 hours of Adam Cole doing chores for Roddy Strong. I am not that guy. Because I'm they're too perfectly healthy. I can't. I'm trying to skip past my disbelief, but I can see there's two perfectly healthy people there, and he's asking the guy with a broken ankle to mow his lawn.
Yeah, exactly.
It's I can't get past that. I can't. Even the nicest person is going to say, "You have two people here with 4 healthy legs. Why am I mowing the yard?"
Again, I don't know what the hell. I just don't know what the hell.
I've been called the nicest person in the world by some people.
You wouldn't do that.
I would not do that. I would be no. You first of all, you work at AEW. You better call somebody to mow your lawn. You can afford it. Second of all, you got 2 healthy leg friends over there that you say are your real friends. Which you have told me are your real friends over the time. They better go. I've
never seen them do anything.
Yes, they're just standing there. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Moving on. The AEW International Championship match. Rey Fenix versus Orange Cassidy. It was originally supposed to be Jon Moxley, but he wasn't cleared to wrestle. The moment OC got put in this match, I'm like, oh, he's winning. He is winning the title back. And that's exactly what happened. It was a very good match. Orange Cassidy goes through and he wins it, and he's your international champion. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm actually going to do some confirmation on this, but if I'm pretty sure, he's the first ever 2-time international champion, which is a huge accolade for him, of course, because I'm pretty sure he was the longest reigning, and now he is the first ever 2-time international champion. Yeah, so he's setting all the records with this belt. And there was a moment in this, the match itself was really good, I would say that. But the thing that I noticed big time was the fact that when he won the title, he was just staring at it. He couldn't take his eyes off it as he's like, I got this back. And it's the idea of I got this back and I will never lose it again. Yeah. His friends come out and they are there to congratulate him, and he's kind of not paying it much mind. And I think Orange Cassidy is going to become a very desperate man to keep that thing after all the hell that he went through to win it and to keep it for that long title reign that he had. He went through hell. I think Orange Cassidy is leaning towards a possible heel run.
I loved the confetti. Loved the confetti or whatever it was out there in celebration. Yeah. I don't like it was funny because he didn't celebrate. It was even after the first time he won it, he celebrated by just kind of slowly holding the title up, but it was very Orange Cassidy. He was just staring at the damn thing. Yeah, and it was just like, and he just kind of rolled out the ring. It was like, and Penta, who came down the ring to check on Ray, was kind of staring at him, and he just walked off. Like, I was trying, it was funny because I was trying to get a good picture with him with the belt. And there was no celebration.
He didn't pose with it or anything. Yeah.
He just fucking bounced, and it was very anticlimactic, probably very Orange Cassidy. I see you went one way with it. I feel like they're going to go with the way that he doesn't feel like he's actually the champion, or he feels like he's a fraud.
He doesn't feel like unless he beats Moxley, he's really the international champion.
Yes, I think that's where they're going to go with it. And that's why I think the celebration was underwhelming, because it wasn't, he got the belt back, but he doesn't feel like the champion.
It's very possible that that's the route.
I don't know which way they're going, but
I saw that. I was just like, I mean, like, he didn't really, like, Best Friends came out. He didn't pay him much mind at all.
Yeah, Rocky came out.
He could give two fucks about Rocky.
Yeah.
But anyways, that was really good. Wardlow versus Matt Sydal. Wardlow kills you, and he walks off and wins by
full match on All Things Elite. I put the full match up.
Yeah.
56 seconds.
Yep. Moving off of that, Renee Paquette was backstage getting an update on Chris Jericho, who was very beaten up. Daniel Garcia comes in to check on him, and he's with Matt Menard, and he's like, "What are we doing? Like, what are we doing checking on this guy?" He's like, "I'm being human. We cared about him. I'm checking in on him." And Menard's like, "Nah, we're better than this. I don't need this. Fuck this," and just walks off. To which Garcia just kind of looks over at Jericho and then just kind of walks away. So
it's funny because I thought this was so real. Like, in real life, you have people that once you screw them over and once they get to the fuck you point, it is fuck you no matter what. I don't care if you're on the side of the road, drowning. Drowning.
Well, that's where Matt Menard's at.
Yeah, and I got a cup of water in my hand. I'm going to pour the shit on the ground and walk away because I hate you. And then Daniel Garcia.
I wouldn't piss on the fire to put you out, basically.
Yes, and that's where he's at. And Daniel Garcia is more like me, the super forgiving one. I'll forgive anything. You know, you in a bad place. I feel sorry for you.
We're still close and all that.
Yeah, and those two personalities in real life always clashed because I have clashed based on those personalities. So it was crazy watching it because it's like that was kind of real life playing it out. Matt Menard is done. And he's like, not only is he done, he's pissed off at Daniel Garcia for not being done too. Because he was like, Matt Menard was one of the last people that were done. And then Garcia was done, and it was just, man, it was done really well because I think this is going to lead to Jericho Appreciation Society reunion at some point to help him out. But God, the way they're playing it off so far, I love it.
Yeah, no, for real. I would absolutely agree with that. And moving off of this, we had Switchblade Jay White versus Hangman Adam Page, which was a really good match, I would say. But this is not what people are talking about. Because people are talking about what happened after this. I have a lot of thoughts on this, I would say.
I have a lot of thoughts on this, and I'm going to do everything I can not to get canceled. So let's go.
I might be on your side too on that. So first of all, Hangman versus Jay White. Very, very good match. Probably the match of the night, I would say. Honestly, I would think these guys. There was a little bit of shenanigans, of course, because Nana creeped out, had the crown in his hands, and then Jay White was able to cheat, hold the tights basically, and pin him and get the win. Hangman was trying to go after Nana afterwards, but eventually, after Jay White gets the victory and he's celebrating, shout out to the Bullet Club Gold coming out in tricycles or like legit big wheels. That fucking popped me. I thought that was so funny. MJF comes out basically and being like, full gear for the world title. You got the match. Now give me my belt back. Be a man. He's like, you just want me to give it to you back? No. We don't want to hear from MJF. We want to hear from JAY. And you don't get the Bang Bang belt. I love how they flipped the Triple B to the Bang Bang belt. I thought that was so good. He said, I was going to say yes, but you were being rude, so I'm not going to do that. And MJF is like, basically, look, I was you. You are the guy that doesn't give a damn about anybody else. You will use, you will abuse people.
And I know you don't care about any of those 3 guys in Bullet Club Gold. You are using them. That's right out of my playbook. For the first time in my life, I've earned the respect of these fans. And there are only 2 things I care about in this life. My brother, Adam Cole, who's injured because of you, and that's my cross to bear. And the title that you're holding. It's not a belt, like you call it. It's my livelihood, my legacy. Because when you win the AEW World title, you are the best wrestler in the world. And Jay, if you weren't surrounded by those idiots, I would have already taken back what's mine. And I know how talented you are. You will eventually be AEW World Champion, but it's not today. So for once in your life, be a man, show some dignity to this sport, to AEW and these fans, and give me back what you have not yet earned. And Jay's like, how's that? No. Thank you for coming out and asking me nicely instead of jumping me from behind in your cute little devil mask. But if you're just asking for this, you can't just ask for it. You have to earn it, and beating me at Full Gear would be your chance to do it, but you're going to fail. And basically, something tells me with us 5 here, you have no friends. Maybe you can find 3 friends who can tolerate you, put you 4 up against the Bang Bang Gang, and if you win, maybe you can get your belt back. And then Juice gets on the microphone and basically being like, I heard through the grapevine that next week there's a Diamond Dozen Battle Royal. And he said, for the chance of wearing that ring that you care about so much. So I'm throwing my name in there because I want to take that ring so we can continue to take away everything you love. And then that's when Juice goes, oh, by the way, I got a gift for you. And he goes into his pocket and he pulls out a roll of quarters and he says, I got a little thing here. It's got your name on it. So after we ruin your life, I'm going to take these quarters and basically about ready to threaten to throw them at his head. And MJF is like, you come at me with those roll of quarters, I'm going to end your life, you piece of shit. To which he throws the mic and he's furious and he walks to the back. I loved this. I thought it was fantastic. And then I go on social media and people are so mad. You got Sean Ross Sapp out here even tweeting like, that's a bad look. And I'm like, Sean, are you kidding me right now? Like, you're going down this route? Because in regards to what's happening in regards to Israel and Palestine and Hamas, the terrorist group, and everything that's happening over in the Gaza Strip and everything there, they're like, it's bad. It's a bad look when you do that and you have Juice do that. MJF has come out multiple times basically defending it. And again, I have to ask people, like, have you pulled your shoulder out of its socket? How hard you're reaching? Because I can pop it back in for you if you want, but it seems like you've reached so hard you've literally separated your shoulder. Guys, calm the fuck down. He showed a roll of quarters and basically threatened to do the same thing the bullies did, which is throw it at his head.
And he's been hitting with people with quarters for like 2 or 3 years now. This started in New Japan. I believe he hit one of FTR with quarters, right?
Yes.
Okay. So. And
then also, I would ask, because I know Maxwell's name was written on it. You saw Friedman was written on the roll of quarters. Tell me, was the Star of David written on that?
Yeah. Did he ever?
Did he call him Jew Boy?
Or did he say anything like that? I mean,
he just said, "I'm gonna throw quarters at your heads, just like those bullies did."
Yeah. So, and break jaws.
Yes, exactly. So again, can we calm down? And then to the people who are grasping their pearls and saying this is such a terrible look, and oh, this is so horrible. Y'all couldn't probably even tell me what the hell they're fighting about over there.
Dude. Again, I call it fake outrage, and it's like, you know what? And if you didn't like it, we can agree to disagree. But this is my biggest problem with it is, I've said this before, and I'm going to reiterate it. Wrestling is my favorite art form. My favorite art form. Period. Like, there's TV, movies, all the different art forms. But wrestling's my favorite art form. And in art, all these sorts of art and all those different types of art, you paint pictures with media, music, or whatever that challenge people, to challenge your thoughts, challenge your perceptions. Shout out to, in different ways. I've heard like many different, rappers do songs about different social things. And, Rich Lotta has a song called like Letter to Kaepernick, right? And it's just like they draw emotions out of you, right? And they do that with Law and Order SVU, violent crimes and all that stuff, and homicides and different things. And then there's comedies that are there to bring out the emotions to make you laugh, right? Why do people want to limit the art form I love? Why can't we talk about bullying and racism and all that stuff in wrestling? Is there a person in this world that thinks Juice Robinson, in his current role, is going to beat the Jewish AEW World Champion MJF? Is there any world where he's going to win? So, there's a person. Let's just say they went the way that you wanted to. There's a person that's saying bad things for bad reasons, and then they're going to lose in the end. What is wrong with that? That's just art. That's just storytelling. It's the Avengers beating Thanos. But to get there, you had to end with one where Thanos won. It's a story. This is fiction. MJF's last name's not even Friedman. Robinson's first name is not Juice. These people are playing characters on TV. You know it is not real. This is accepted. And you're complaining like they're literally like painting swastikas on people. And they're not. You're just limiting the art form. And I hate it. And it bothers me. Let the people tell the fucking story, then decide if you like the story or not. Yes, if I sound annoyed, I am very annoyed. Because to me, you weren't attacking Juice Robinson. You weren't attacking AEW. You were attacking wrestling. Because they are allowed to tell stories. Let them tell the fucking story. They try something different. They try something a little new. They try something out of the box. You say it's stale, it's boring. And they try something out of the box. Oh my God, not that. You can be mean, but don't be that mean.
Well, and I will remind you people who we're also including this storyline with. Can we remember who's involved here? I understand that he's babyface for the first time in his entire career, but you realize who this is revolving around, right?
This man's called the devil.
Yes, this is Maxwell Jacob Freeman. The same man who literally walked up to Brian Pillman Jr. and said he was going to give him on-site CTE. Like literally, like said, you're getting the same thing that your dad got, early set CTE. This is the same man who literally did so much heinous shit that could be perceived as too far. This is a man who nearly got canceled on Twitter because he went on in a meet and greet and flipped off a little kid. Dude. People wanted him thrown into the garbage for doing that, and he just flipped off a kid.
A woman flew to Vegas, bought like 5 meet and greets with MJF, wasn't even going to Double or Nothing, came to Vegas for the explicit reason of meeting MJF, and he no-showed. Again, this is a character. This is
work. Again too. And remember, this is a dance. Wrestling is a dance. You give and you take. It's a little sha-sha-sha. In that regards to promos as well. So when you do a line like that, who the fuck do you think you got to talk to about that? You got to talk to MJF about that, being like, hey, I want to do this. Or maybe Max even brought up the idea. You don't know that. Max could have very well came up with the idea.
Dave Meltzer has been very clear that the most powerful man in AEW as far as storytelling and how the stories are being told is MJF.
He's so hands-on and he's so particular with everything, with his character, with his stories. This man cares about kayfabe so much. This is the guy that you're like literally freaking out about this type of shit. The guy who's so hands-on with everything that he's involved with.
And just in case I didn't say this, it's fiction. This is fiction. You are watching a story, a show, a TV show, a movie, whatever you want to compare it to. This is fiction. Let the fucking story play out and decide.
And if somehow this has to be said, no, we are not saying what is happening over there is not a big deal.
Dude, I'm completely detached from that. I am. I don't watch I don't watch the news. Like, well, I know the news, so No, I know it's happening. I don't know sides. I don't know anything about it.
Exactly.
I'm living in my American bubble. You know what I mean?
But again, like, we're not trying to put across the idea that that's not a serious issue. And did this walk the line? You could say so, but they didn't even mention it outright. It wasn't like a full-on, like, I wish you died in the womb, where it's like, you're a stupid Jew. Nothing like that.
Yes, and please don't clip that. No, we're not saying that. It's just like, no, he didn't say anything about his
There
religion.
was no reference to his heritage or anything like that. You are putting things together that weren't actually explicitly mentioned in the segment.
And you're literally making yourself angry. And if you want to be angry, go ahead. But be angry in the guise of wrestling. Hope Juice gets beat up and, MJF takes it out on him. Hopefully MJF takes the roller coasters and punches Juice in the face. Because that's what fucking professional wrestling is.
That's like, again, it's like I don't understand why this became like, I literally went on Twitter and this threw me off completely. Dude, I couldn't believe people went down this road.
I watched it. I'm sitting there watching it live.
I was like, that was so fucking good.
And I see the phone go off, and I was like, at some point, Juice Robinson is talking to MJF, right? And the crowd in Missouri is so loud, I have no idea what he's saying. And it literally, I looked at my wife. I'm like, did he say something about him being Jewish? And I didn't hear it. And she was like, I couldn't hear it either. So I literally came home and I watched the whole show over again because I needed to know, and I like to see what happens on TV. And he didn't mention anything.
Nothing.
So yeah, I'm not in the case. You know what? I'm not protecting anything or anybody. It's just y'all went somewhere I didn't even go because, again, I'm familiar with Juice Robinson. I've been watching him since New Japan, since he turned heel. This has kind of been a thing that he does. So I never connected one and one until the internet connected it.
That being said, like, again, go to MJF's Twitter to see everything that he said about the whole matter. Again, it's 1,000% like it was never this deep, guys. You were making this way bigger than it was. Like MJF, I'm sure he's already tweeted out plenty of things through the Stand Up to Jewish Hate Twitter account and all that kind of stuff. Like, so if you want to go in on stuff like if you want to actively like help and do stuff like that, those outlets are there for you. But again, can you calm the hell down?
Stop limiting my art form. I hate it.
There we go.
You want to piss me off? Do that.
There you go. Moving on from all this, we have the AEW Women's World Championship match between Saraya and Hikaru Shida. Now, this was a really good match. I felt like Saraya was doing some good work in this. Again, Shida continuously outstanding. At one point, Saraya is able to. She takes a can of spray paint and is able to put it in her waistband, basically just kind of hide it. She grabs Shida's kendo stick. Paul Turner takes it and pulls it away and is about to toss it. She looks to go for the spray can, and then that's when Saraya gets sprayed in the eyes by her. She sprays Shida in the eyes with it, hits the nightcap. Shida doesn't die, though. She continues to fight, and then eventually Shida hits the Falcon Arrow. Saraya then they multiple roll-up counters, but eventually Saraya gets rolled up, and Shida pins Saraya and becomes your brand new AEW Women's World Champion. She is your first ever 3-time AEW Women's World Champion, and huge accomplishment for her. And yeah, Saraya's title reign ends at 44 days. It's not the shortest, obviously. Shida's second reign was the shortest AEW Women's World title reign. But I mean, I would say, honestly, it felt like, the Saraya title reign was just to be able to say, you know what, you got the world title because you deserve it, and no one knew if you could wrestle again, and you got the opportunity to do that, so we're going to give you the world championship because you've earned it. But then also, it was for a huge pop in England for All In. So, yeah, Saraya loses to Hikaru Shida, and Shida is your world champion again for the women's division. I love Shida. I've always loved Shida, so I hope that she gets an interesting storyline with the championship. But also, we got to say, earlier in the match, too, I forgot to mention this, Ruby Soho tried to ambush Shida earlier in the match, but then Toni Storm runs out and hits her with a shoe and chases off Ruby Soho. So that and that all stemmed too because in between picture in picture for multiple points, they had a silent film of timeless Toni Storm that was they had 2 acts of it in between picture in picture, basically as a way to try to make people not tune into NXT. Which, I mean, it worked for me. I'll tell you that much. I don't know if it worked for everybody else, but it worked for me. And then I loved how it tied everything together, being like, Miss Storm, you're needed on set. She takes her shoe off and she runs off screen, and then she eventually all of a sudden appears at Dynamite and she hits Ruby Soho with a shoe. Again, she is my fucking queen. I cannot gush over her enough. But I'm interested to see how this goes. I don't think Saraya. I think having Saraya now having a legit feud with Toni Storm and having Ruby and Saraya go after Toni. I think that's going to be massively interesting. And I don't think they need the title for it necessarily. And I think it also opens up the opportunity for more women to go after that world title. So yeah, I think it just continues that, and I'm hoping that it gets a lot to work off of because right now they're doing banger stuff with Toni Storm, and then having her actually feud with her former best friends, I think has a chance to be spectacular.
As a resident minion of Athena, I am ready for her to make her way to Dynamite. And I think we should be looking at a double champ. I want Athena and Shida rivalry. I'm down. Let's go.
Let's freaking go.
She's been killing it on Ring of Honor. I've been a subscriber, but sometimes I don't watch it. In the last few weeks, I've been catching up just to make sure I see her because she's so good. So I'm hoping. Congrats to Shida. I got some really good pictures of her winning the title, and congrats. And I was glad I was there for it.
Huge. You saw a huge moment right there.
Yeah. So I was there for the last 2 women's title changes. Huh. Interesting. Just thought about it.
Interesting. Yes.
Yeah. No. But congratulations to her. This was a big moment. Nice. The roll up victory. They told a good story. They set up the stuff with Toni. It's perfect. Now, give Sheena opponents. Give her credible threats. Let her have great matches. That's what you do. That is how you build a title reign. That's how you build a division. Let her do her dope shit. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'll say, where's Britt? Because, I always want her.
Yeah, for real.
I always want her in the title picture. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Sheena's the stabilizer. It's just like...
She really is, dude. When you need to stabilize the division, you get her.
You call Sheena, and she is a champion everybody respects. She is popular. She holds that belt with pride, and she puts on great matches. That's the type of person you want as your women's champion. Perfect 3-time champion. Again, congratulations.
Absolutely. We then had MJF backstage basically being like, I want to call my boy and get some advice. And he calls. Adam Cole eventually does answer, apologizing, being like, listen, I'm sorry. I'm still with Roddy. He's hurt. And MJF's like, listen, I'm getting attacked left and right by Bullet Club Gold. They stole the Triple B. Samoa Joe now wants a title shot, and Juice opened some old wounds, so I need your help. And Adam's like, I can't. Matt asks, can you hear me? I'm in the Mac in phone reception, dead. And then the Acclaimed walks up, and Max Caster's like,
hey, I was eavesdropping on your call, like being all fucking coy. And he's like, I know you said you need some help, and maybe we could offer your services for helping you taking on Bullet Club Gold. MJF walks away just being frustrated, and Daddy Ass just goes like, when did you just think you could offer up our services? And what is your infatuation with that dude, that goober? Basically being like, we started wrestling together. I've known him for 10 years and he's my friend. I think he needs our help. Plus I like it when he plays hard to get. And I'm just like, Caster, Jesus Christ. So having the Acclaimed back up MJF against Bullet Club Gold, I am so gassed about that. I think it'll be super entertaining. And again, the Max and Max connection cannot be denied. It cannot be denied. Floyd, you there?
Oh yeah, I instead of unmuting myself to talk, I muted myself and then started talking. So you can now hear me. Acclaim to the Max. I am looking forward to this. To those 4-on-4 matches. I will tell something about me. Me and my friends joke a lot. Pretty much my relationship with most of my male friends is Max's relationship with MJF. So it cracks me up because I see it playing out there. And one of my friends is like, Floyd, are they like stealing your act? And I was like, no. I'm like, if you were raised in locker rooms, yeah, shit happens, and this is funny. It's hilarious. Keep going. I love how uncomfortable MJF is. I love how he no-sold him for years, and now he's So it's been great. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Now, main event time. The in-ring debut of the Rated R superstar Adam Copeland going one-on-one with Luchasaurus. But before that, the TNT champion Christian Cage comes out. And he addresses Kansas City straight up, where he's basically being like, unlike your Kansas City Chiefs, I don't need outside help to win my matches.
I laughed because no one cares in Kansas City how they win. No one cares. I think they booed them because they're supposed to boo them, but no one cares. We're like,
we're still leading the division, and we're still the Chiefs, and you can't stop us.
Yeah, it's like...
Unless your name's the Detroit Lions, in which case you'll get beaten up.
Dude. I'm ready for this Patriots life where everybody says the referees are on our side. I love it. You only get that when you're winning, So I just thought this was so funny because, like, the dude next to me, like, yeah, we don't care. Like, the Chiefs are winning, we don't care. So
you don't care about the way you win. We're the same thing. We're on the same side.
We're on the same. We're the same person.
We are, you and me. We're the same person.
Yes.
No, so he goes in there basically doing all this kind of stuff, saying, "I'm not Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne's leader. I'm their father." And why did you not want to help me when I was getting held back a few years ago and you were being pushed to the moon? It's typical Adam wants the spotlight now that he doesn't have it anymore, all that kind of stuff. He says, you need me, I don't need you. Shout out to my favorite Ed Sheeran song. But he's like, I can't blame you, though, for being a fan, Adam, though. I have a lot of fans around this world. In fact, I know your wife, Beth, is a huge fan and basically just calls out his children and is like, be sure there's a new clean pair of sheets on the bed because daddy's coming home. And it's like, oh, Christian, lovely stuff. Adam's music hits and he rushes to the ring immediately, gets up in the face of Luchasaurus as Christian runs away. And then Nick Wayne grabs onto his leg and then Luchasaurus boots him and then they start beating up on him before the bell even rang. And Adam Copeland took a beating during this match. Luchasaurus was absolutely throwing it together and just beating him down. Eventually, though, he's able to fight back a little bit. And as the ring steps was pulled out, he was going to put Adam Copeland on it. And then he proceeds to DDT Luchasaurus on the floor. Copeland then proceeds to splash crossbody onto Luchasaurus's back. And then they're jockeying on the top turnbuckle. Copeland hits a superplex. And then while the referee is distracted, Christian Cage gets closer. He turns around, telling him to back away. Nick Wayne gets up with a chair and puts it between the turnbuckles. Copeland looks to spear him.
He gets sent headfirst into the chair. Luchasaurus choke slams him, but he kicks out. And then eventually he avoids it, off the steps, jumps off the ring steps, and he spears Luchasaurus onto the floor. And when he looks for another one, Nick Wayne gets back up, distracting the ref again. Christian Cage jumps on the other side. He's going to hit Copeland with the TNT title, but Copeland yanks it out of his hands and then hits Luchasaurus with the title, throws the title back to Christian Cage, and Luchasaurus turns around and thinks Christian Cage hit him with the belt, and he's furious. Luchasaurus turns into a spear, and Copeland wins his first match in AEW, defeating Luchasaurus. But then afterwards, Nick Wayne chop blocks Adam Copeland. They start beating down on him. Danielson gets in the ring, going after Nick Wayne. Luchasaurus then knocks him down. The BCC comes out to back up Bryan Danielson with Claudio and Yuta coming out. But then all of a sudden, the Mogul Embassy comes out brawling with them. And then Hangman comes out. And then here comes all this stuff happening. And then eventually the match ends with a bunch of fighting and chaos. Danielson has the label lock on Christian Cage, making him tap out. Is that the future of Saturday at Collision? Will Christian Cage lose the title to Danielson? And it's just massive chaos to close out Dynamite on Title Tuesday. Very nice ending. I thought it was I love this old school. Everything's going crazy. Tune in next time. Sublime. Wonderful.
Dude, yeah. The end of the show was wonderful. I really, like Edge hitting the spear, and he really did just, pretty much put Luchasaurus, got most of the offense in. And, and Edge, being the best big man in the world, and Nick Wayne is settling into his role as the scumbag baby son heel, and Christian's just Christian, and he's over the top. And yeah, the match worked. I mean, the match honestly wasn't too anything to write home about, but
no, it was solid.
It was solid, and it was what Edge does, and he told a good story, and he overcame the big guy, and then everything went down, and then there was the Blackpool Combat Club in the ring with Edge, which was great because that led to the Blackpool Combat Club versus kind of the Mogul Embassy, and then you had Hangman and Swerve did their thing, and yeah, it was great. It was great. After the show, we sung "Happy Birthday" to Tony Khan. I don't know if that video's made it.
I have seen that on Twitter. Yes,
yeah, that video made it online. That was pretty cool. It was just it was a good day.
It was a very good day. Yes. So that was Title Tuesday. Very, very, very good show. That again, I love that still, despite the fact that you didn't win against NXT, which again, I don't think many people were expecting you to. You hung your hat on great wrestling, and that's what you got pretty much the entire night, because this is what AEW is. It's a great pro wrestling company, and it does that better than I think any other American wrestling company that exists. So yeah, I thought it was a great way to close things out. And then, that was how Dynamite closed out for Rampage. We have multiple matches. Of course, we're going to have, there's going to be a Mexico.
I've already seen Rampage, actually.
Yeah, you've seen it, yes. But, I mean, so for Rampage, you're going to get, well, first of all, I would mention, too, that you've got a big match that was announced for Rampage next week, actually, that's going to be on the funny thing is, it's airing it basically saying that it's on the 18th after Dynamite, but it's going to be on the 20th next week. They're going to have Mystico, I would say. Tony Khan announced that today. They're having Mystico face Rocky Romero on next week's Rampage, and it's going to be Mexico's pound for pound crown. So shout out Mystico. It's going to have him at AEW. In regards to Rampage, Floyd, do you want to just go through what Rampage has for this week, even though you've seen it already?
Yes.
Or do you want me to run through it?
We had Trent Beretta versus Jay Lethal. Yeah, Jay Lethal. Mogul NBC. Or the Gates of Agony versus what has now been referred to as Ham and Swiss, which is Wheeler Yuta and Claudio. We had
Daniel Garcia, Daddy Magic, and
yes, and yeah. So Daniel Garcia And that was a good match. And the Hardys always get a good pop.
Yeah, Hardys versus the Hardys and Brothers, eh?
Yeah, that was a great pop. People were very much into the Hardys on that show.
Sky Blue versus Emi Sakura.
And yes, and Emily Good. And Sky Blue has a definite fan base. People.
We know that.
People are fans of her and a certain part of her. Just put it that way. So, no, she is. It was hilarious to me because it was just like, oh my God, just like the thirst was real in the crowd.
Oh, it's so real, dude. It's so real.
Yeah,
it's so real. And then of course, Collision. You're getting the TNT Championship defended by Christian Cage against Bryan Danielson. You're going to get the Ring of Honor World Television Championship between Samoa Joe and Willie Mack.
That's like my wife's favorite wrestler, Willie Mack.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. She loves some Willie.
Solid.
Yeah.
And then was there any... Don't say that. Was there any other...
Really love that Willie. No,
was there any other matches that we got that were announced for Collision? I know they said they're going to announce more as...
No, they really have not announced anything. Yeah, let me do one more check. I
was gonna say I figured they were gonna announce more on Rampage.
Yeah, so no, they have not announced anything else for Collision. Collision's still bare. So yeah, they're gonna announce it all on Rampage.
And then we did get one match announced for Dynamite next week. We got Lucha El Penta El Zero Mero versus Jay White.
Yeah, in Houston,
which should be a banger.
Yeah, last year I would definitely be in Houston. This year it's not going to work out, but yeah. And that's opened up, like the arena only has been open since like August. If you look up the Epicenter in Texas, it's actually it's in Fort Bend, Texas, but it's like a Houston area, and it's like a multi-stadium. It's meant for a lot of different things. So I think they're like maybe the fifth or sixth show that's been in their arena. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So yeah, that's gonna do it though for our episode of All Things Elite. So yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And then the one thing we did want to mention though is that there was a bit of a mess up for last week.
Yes, it has not been 3 weeks since we recorded a show. We actually recorded a show on October 5th. At the end of the show, my power went out. And while working with Almoto, I thought the show was lost. They messaged me today that they found it in that it might be in a different file location. I was able to find the file. So you're actually going to get 2 episodes this week. If you're listening to this episode, this is probably the second episode. And the numbering kind of got screwed up. So we called this one 210. This is actually 211. And the one we recorded last week is 210. I'm going to go back and change some things. So that is indicated. But you're going to have like 5 hours to listen to us if you want to this week.
Yeah, so a big, we were just happy that the episode got saved.
Dude.
We thought we lost it. And it was our Wrestle Dream review. We were so excited to talk about it. And then like it just disappeared because Floyd's power went out.
Yeah, and I thought it was gone, and I thought like I was looking for it, and I'm an IT guy, so if I can't find it, generally,
then it's gone. Yeah,
it's gone. So no, we were able to find it. I was able to save it. I'm gonna edit it, and yeah, you're gonna get 2 episodes this week. So I am very happy for that.
Absolutely. So gotta shout that out. But anyways, guys, again, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of All Things Elite. Be sure to continue to download this fine show on Google or Apple Podcasts. If you listen to us on Spotify or wherever you choose to listen to us, please give us a share with your friends, family, coworkers, whoever you wish. You can also leave a rating and a review, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode of All Things Elite. And then if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can follow us at ATElitePod. You can also follow at Social Suplex, who make this show possible. Please check out all the other shows they have on their network. I am at Austin Szumowicz, SZUMOWICZ. Floyd is at Floyd Johnson Jr. on Twitter. Last thing I will say, guys, is just, it's very easy to just be positive. That's what this show is trying to be, just a proclivity for positivity. When you try to tear things down over perceived things that aren't there and you just are constantly negative, it just adds a whole bunch of nonsense. You can put good in the world. You can support the causes that you stand up for and the causes you believe in, and you should,
because that's what you should do with your life, is support the people that you care about and the causes that you care about. You shouldn't tear people down, though, for being who they are. That's how I feel. And I think it's the easiest way to live your life. Just, again, we always say it, be nice to people. And you can be very nice by not screaming on the internet. Quite easy to do that as well. That's all I got to say. Y'all be good. And I will pass it off to Floyd so he can take us home on this episode of All Things Elite.
Well, thank you for all that. Actually, if this is you, Linda, at the end of a 5-hour marathon to listen to us, we thank you for listening to us. We appreciate you all. Hopefully some of our predictions were right, and laugh at the ones that were really, really, really wrong. But I want you to just enjoy the week. This is my favorite time of year as far as fall. The weather's about to get nicer. I have football on. I have wrestling on. I got a lot of wrestling shows lined up. And I want to make it clear, the tribalism stuff, we definitely do an AEW podcast. We prefer AEW, but the tribalism stuff is, honestly, it's fun on Twitter. I don't take Twitter seriously, though. I don't take anything put or said on Twitter, for the most part, seriously. It's just fun. So hopefully have fun on it. Be nice to people. Tell them you love them. Make sure your people know how you feel about them. Enjoy life. Go out, watch wrestling, do your things. And then most importantly, I'm going to leave you how I always leave you. Whether it is home, work, or school, always do your best to be elite.